Hey there, boys, girls of YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are see if we can't get this 1971 Ford Country Squire running for the first time in eternity. Well, judging by that 1980 North Dakota license plate with an 82 tag on it, my calculation says 43 years. I've never had the hood open on this thing. I seem to recall that it had an oil leak from when my buddy unloaded it. It was his uncle's family car. It was put in the trees. They were cleaning out. He says, "You want that thing? I'm gonna drop it off." So we got a title for it, but we got no keys. We got it in here with the floor jack and the old telehandler, but I checked the VIN on it. The fifth letter of the VIN is an S, which decodes as a 400. So it should be a 400 modified engine. So let's get this thing up in the air first thing and see if this thing's got a hole in the oil pan, and then maybe put a bar to see if we can get it cranking over, and then we'll worry about getting the hood open later. If you haven't seen the video on the second channel, we put a Christmas tree on this thing all lit up, and I had this thing sitting out by the highway for the holiday season, because I thought it'd be cool to do a Griswold rendition yard ornament. And I also had to put some 5 spokes on it. Alrighty, let's get a look at the bottom side of the old 71 Country Squire. Also, where does the name Country Squire come from? Well, the core support and the frame all look pretty solid up here. She's a coil spring car. I don't see any holes in the oil pan. Does look like she's been leaking. Doesn't look like it's had an oil change in quite some time. So maybe that was just something else. Also, no exhaust. It needed duals of glass packs anyway. Looks like they're a full frame car. Floor pans are pretty solid, except for where my finger goes through. Really solid over here on the driver's side. Should have a 9-inch in the back. Definitely a 9-inch. You can see how deep it was in the good old North Dakota black soil. I maybe put a couple 2x4s in the springs so that it didn't rub on my tires, because you don't want it rubbing on the old Cupra Cobras. White letters in, of course, on the 275/60s. Didn't seem like it wanted to roll. Yep, brakes are definitely locked up. Wasn't an issue this winter when everything was icy. So yeah, hey, there's the tag. Maybe, oh, I was saying we could clean it up, but it fell apart in my hands. Rust back here by the storage compartment. Oh, I had a spot for the tow hook though. We've got some Christmas decor back there by the spare tire as well. Looks like our vacuum tube is missing. The critters probably chewed that off. I'm sure the starter's fine. Yeah, that looks good. That's what you want to see. All right, I was worried that somebody, oh, there it is. There's the pinholes. Son of a biscuit. I don't think my buddy damaged it. I think he just barely touched it. Yeah, there's why it's leaking. I knew there was an issue. Let's see if it turns over anyway. Maybe we can just throw enough metal at that oil pan to get her to seal up, or throw some seal all on there or something, because I'm definitely not swapping the oil pan, but let's see if it turns over. Tech tip of the day, don't let your car's oil pan sit in the dirt if you're gonna let it sit for 50 years. What size do you suppose that is, Duff? 1/16? All right. Will it turn? Here we go. Bolt tightening. Not looking good for the home team. Good news is it's all oily under here, and I saw an oil mess, so there should have been oil in it until there wasn't. Ah! She bricked. And of course, Ford doesn't have a nice access cover through the transmission back here to get in there and pry on the flywheel. Also looks like that freeze plug's about rusted out too. Disc brakes, of course, and even power steering. We'll give her a couple more cranks just for good luck, see what happens. Oh, no bueno. Maybe if we get the hood open and we throw some Croil down the cylinders and let it sit overnight, tomorrow it'll magically just spin right over. Now we just gotta figure out how to get the hood open. We'll get the hood opening master. Duff's outside enjoying this windy, hot weather. I'm enjoying the air conditioning in here. As you can see, we got a little cowl induction hood action going on here, and maybe that's why it's locked up, and it's probably why this thing won't open. So let me do some digging around up here, see if we can't get this thing to open. Looks like we had a little body work done here in the past. These do have kind of a neat front end. Well, I don't see a lever inside the car, so there's got to be something going on down here somewhere. Hey, go get your Get Lit Mortske Repair Streamlight at mortske.com. For every $1 you spend on a Streamlight or anything else at mortske.com gets you entered to win the LS swapped OBS and $3,000 cash, or $20,000 cash, plus 5 runners up get $100 a piece. So head on over to mortske.com for more details and get yourself a Get Lit Mortske Repair Streamlight. There it is. It's right there where the hood's bashed in. And you can't get your finger. It's time for the hook. A claw! Oh, cheese and rice. We're going with the just unbolt the hood latch method. Never mind that, the grill is fine, we'll save it. Price and availability on the video description for the whole car, not just the grill. What's going on? Maybe we can get her through the old grill access hole. If we do get it running, it's going to be getting hood pins and a custom grill insert, it looks like. Alright, hood latch unbolted. There we go! Now we're getting somewhere. All right, here we go. Ooh. These hood hinges are not happy. Good grief. Yep, there it is. Power steering, power brakes, air conditioning. Those sure look like 400 valve covers. Don't call it a 400M or the Ford guys scream at you. Looks like that was the original green. She's a little bit darker green in there than it is out here. Look at this ancient battery. Oh, it's a Farmland Superstart 27F. The F means Ford, which means it's backwards, because that's what Ford is. All right, well, looks like points ignition. I guess we'll try to get this hood open a little bit further and maybe pull some spark plugs out. Or maybe just take this whole hood right off of it. You know, that solves a lot of problems. It's out of our way. We don't have to worry about cleaning up hood hinges, and we don't have to worry about a latch. I think I talked myself into it. Also, lighting. We'll have way better light underneath there if we're not underneath anything. Let's get our helper prop rod in there. Oh, yuck. Demons, come out. How many Ford guys are yelling at me? Don't even waste your time, it's a 400. Pretty sure the 400 is the most hated Ford engine ever. It's like the LS of the Ford world. How are we gonna do this without dying? That thing's heavy. Better I'm getting old. Probably both. Maybe the old walk right onto the roof. Oh, if I can get up here. Oh, definitely should unhook that washer hose. Sorry, windshield, radiator, air conditioner. Don't step on the air cleaner lid. Just drop it over backwards, right? Woo! Nobody died. Did I crack the windshield? Oh, it was already cracked. Never mind. Huh. So much room for activities. So many activities! Where should we start? Let's see what the air cleaner looks like inside. I feel a lot better about this thing if the carburetor is not seized up. There's a whole bunch of, yeah, that. Ooh, there's still some, oh yeah. This is not good for the home team. Is it just me? Do no other channels on YouTube have this problem of mice? They ruin everything. Yep. She's seized. So I'm guessing that's why this engine is stuck. The mice went down there, filled the cylinders with mice things, for lack of better terms, keep it PC around here. And the valves are stuck and the pistons are stuck because of mice things. We need to push to eradicate these mice. I know they're probably play a large part in the ecosystem. Also, did you know we got a cat, Jackie Chan? Hopefully he's thinning them out around here. Jackie, what have you been doing? ninja cat things. Everybody wants to see you. They don't think you exist, but Jackie doesn't come out till after dark. He's doing ninja cat things all day. Let's pull some spark plugs out, see what it looks like inside of said cylinders. Reassess the situation. All right, boys and girls, it's not looking good for the home team. I've torn apart way too many engines and many of them were stuck. And here's a pretty good indicator. These are a Strange Champion RBL-13Y, but look how rusty those things are. And if there's rust on the end of the spark plugs, there is surely rust in the cylinders. And these things are pretty terrible. And it's not just a couple of them, it's every single one of them. Even the ones from the driver's side. So the mice probably came in through the exhaust as well. And everybody bashes the 400. I got one in my 71 Ford four-wheel drive. Had pretty good luck with it, surprisingly. And when I was messing with that one, everybody says, pull that piece of junk out and throw a 460 in. Well, I didn't have a 460. I guess it's a direct bolt-in, but guess what I do have now? We got a 74 Mercury Grand Marquis out back that we got running a while back, did some burnouts. Seemed like it ran pretty good. It's got a 460 with a 4-barrel. I don't know if they made them with a 2-barrel, but it is a 4-barrel. And we've been trying to sell that thing for $650, mainly for the drivetrain, for I don't know how long. And that thing might have brakes for this thing, might have a steering column. It's got 4 wheels and tires, and that's about it. But let's get the 460 and the C6 out of that. It should bolt right into here, but I know the transmission working that, and I don't want to go through all the work of swapping this to find out that this transmission is no good. And maybe we'll end up going with this transmission. I don't know. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to just roll this thing out back, hit her with a pressure washer, get her all cleaned up. I don't think it's worth messing with this one. Maybe we'll pop a cylinder head off of it when we got it out of here, but I can't get rid of that car. And this car would be way cooler with a 460 because all the Ford folks know that 460s are the best and 400s are the worst. So let's do it. What the heck? Why not? Everything's complete on that car running and driving. Everything's complete on this thing as far as I can tell, other than the keys. Maybe the keys from that car will fit in here. Who knows? Let's get Bernie, wheel this thing out back, pressure washer up, and that'll make our life a whole lot easier. How cool would it be if the AC worked? Oh, the compressor turns. Well, partially. 460 swap time. Big Ford overhead valve guy here. Here we go, no sexy pressure washing here. Go to Oklahoma for that. I'm pretty sure it's outlawed here, don't you think, Duff? It's mostly just leaves and other tree droppings, but obviously there's some mouse droppings in there. A little bit of grease and whatnot, so let's get that out of there. Oh yeah, that's way better. At least all the leaves won't be falling on the shop floor and getting in my armpit. Looks like I took the battery out, and we're probably gonna need a battery tray there, Duff. While we let this drip dry, let's go round up a Mercury, because that's gonna take a little work. Well, here it is. The old Marquis. It grew a 55 Chevy 4-door though, so we're gonna have to relocate that on top of something else here. Good news is we got options. So I popped the hood last night. I don't know Fords, but it looks a lot like the 400, so it should fit right in there. And this thing's got the GM style power steering pump. I think it's a Saginaw, and those are better because I think those ones don't make the Ford supercharger whine. Anyway, I'm gonna go get the telehandler, and we're gonna scoop a 55 off and hopefully scoop up the Grand Marquis. Here we go. All right, I don't know that I've ever pulled a engine out of a LTD. Oh yeah, we have, to put small block Chevys in and smash them up in demolition derbies. But anyway, I take a 400M out of a Bronco to put in that pickup. A 400, excusez-moi. Anyway, let's pull this thing out. I'm guessing the air conditioning does not work. The compressor, oh, it does make a full revolution. No, not quite a full revolution. It stops. Let's be honest, we don't need AC. It's just gonna be in the way. I think I could flop it off this way, but we're just gonna disconnect everything very properly, carefully. All right, let's work real fast, get this done. Well, it took about 45 minutes. I think we got everything up here. I did ruin one wire that powers up the, what is it, that solenoid for the AC, the ACL solenoid, but shouldn't be a problem, and I could fix it if I really wanted to. Heater hoses are super, super, super brittle. This silly tube that they run up here, which we could just replace it with hose, all rotted off. This heater core connection right there fell apart in my hands, although super sweet accessibility right there. I think you just pop that right out. Super easy to put a heater core in these things, but yeah, brittle. Of course, snap the bolt off that's going into the aluminum alternator housing, so we'll have to put that into that. I do, however, really love the Ford style power steering pumps. I don't love the style of them and the sound they make, but I like the adjustability. You got these slots right here that it slides, and then they got a stud that sticks out, this guy right here, and you can tension the belt with that bad boy. That's a pretty good design. I like that. And it's got a cooler built into it, you know, for high cornering extreme capabilities that the old 71 Country Squire has. We're running into our first pretty good debacle here. The rear U-joint hardware sat in the dirt long enough that I can no longer get a wrench on it, so we're gonna put the gas wrench on it. Also, it looks like somebody picked it up with the telehandler and dented the drive shaft. Sure that won't cause a vibration. All right, hopefully we're ready to pull this thing out of there. I just heard Bob pull up. We can put him to work, make him help us. Bob. Try number 2. You know how to run that thing? Woo! Okay. All right, we did her the hard way or the dumb way, or I don't know, my way, the Mortske way. Pulled the tranny out the bottom. You were of no assistance. Now we're gonna pull the 400 out the top. And the reason is we're hitting that heater core box, and I don't wanna bang that all up if I don't have to, so torque converter's still hanging on there because it's hard to get the torque converter bolts out when the engine don't turn. Like, let's watch the torque converter once that starts peeking its way out. Bust up that. Well, let's see, it's got some oil left in it. Disappointment. Looks good though. Nice and clean.
It's actual oil, not water.
Yeah. I suppose the oil pan rusted from the inside or the outside? Judging by the rest of the car, from... Oh, I thought I took those motor mounts loose, but they just separated themselves. Hopefully they're good on the other car. You don't want your motor mounts to delaminate like that. bad things happen, especially when you got all the horse torques of a 400. It's like I didn't even pressure wash it. All right, here we go again. Same thing as we just did. I'm pretty sure Ford used a lot of the same parts. That heater core or HVAC assembly looks exactly the same as the other car. So I guess we're gonna do the same thing. Have to split the transmission, drop that out the bottom, and then pull the engine out the top. This radiator is out of the Torino, so I was hoping we would have everything would be numbers matching, but hopefully the radiator out of the wagon is good, and fan shroud and all that works, because somebody stole the radiator out of this car. This car does have no, this is points. No, is it not points? Where's the Duraspark box? Who knows? 74. I think it's got Duraspark. There's the Duraspark box hidden way down there, and it was working, so I'd like to leave it Duraspark. So we'll have to figure a way to wire that out, because I don't know if the distributors interchange between a 400 and a 460, so who knows. All right, let's get to pulling. Duff, you ready to do the bottom side? We should probably clean up this mess. We'll do it after we get this Swaparooski done. Let's look at the bottom side of this thing. It's pretty decent. I forgot about this car. It's got the push button starter deal that every car had in 1974. Something to do with seat belts. Like you couldn't start your car if the seat belt wasn't buckled up, and so you had to have a switch under the hood. And this thing's also got ABS. That's right, Kelsey Hayes ABS in 1974. This car did have brakes, so I wonder if we could steal the spindles and brakes off this, put on the other car if need be. Probably not. They don't interchange, no doubt. It does look like it's got the front sump oil pan, and it's not rusted through, so that's a good deal. This transmission looks very familiar to the other one, so hopefully everything just interchanges there. Ooh, the transmission lines come out the other side. Well, that shouldn't be a big deal. We can use the other transmission cooler lines if we have to. Same exact transmission crossmember, same style of mounting, so I think they used a lot of the same stuff. And this thing's got pretty good exhaust up to the muffler anyway, so hopefully we can salvage all of that. The drive shaft looks like it's good. It's probably the wrong length, but we gotta take it out anyway, so we'll save that. And maybe these straps are the same. There's that sensor for the ABS stuff in 1974. I don't know that this is a 9-inch. I think it is. But anyway, I doubt we'll be using it, but if we need to, it's there. So let's get to ripping the stuff out of the bottom side to get a C6 probably and a big block out of a 74 Mercury. All right, run into our first snag with the old Mercury big block removal, and of course it's related to mice. You see, this is where the engine must have been parked the first time, and the mice got in here and rusted out that torque converter bolt. So now we get to heat it up and try to extract that without screwing up the threads or anything else. Mice, the bane of my existence. Oh yeah, little heat goes a long ways. We'll put a new nut on there when we put it back together. Here we go again. It's like Groundhog's Day, pulling another engine. What did Bill Murray drive in Groundhog's Day? I feel like they jumped the railroad tracks in one of these things. Going to get flapjacks.
Hey, who else could go for some flapjacks right now?
Well, hopefully we can fish this out of there. I don't have an extra set of eyes this time, but so long as we don't screw up anything on the engine on the way out, we're good to go. We don't care about the heater core in this thing. All right, we got her out of there. All we forgot to unhook was the block heater, which I need to remind myself to put a freeze plug in this thing. That's the other thing. We're not going to paint this thing. We probably aren't even going to wash it. Maybe we will. We're not putting a cam, timing chain, oil pump, rear main seal, nothing. We're just going to huck it in there and go. I'm sure after being parked since 1991, so got it running a couple years ago, 32, 33 years been sitting. I'm sure everything's fine. No carb kit, no spark plug wires, no nothing. Belts, we're gonna put belts on it. These ones are a little rough. I think Chin chewed them up with the pressure washer a bit too. And some new heater hoses, of course. Radiator hoses? Nah. If I had some, I would, but we're running them. Let's get this out of this and this out of my shop before we lose it. See some tranny lines. I think that's about it. She's ready for the bone pile now. Well, we might, I think it's got a 275 limited slip in the rear. I'd prefer like a 355, but anyway, it's a limited slip. It's terrible gearing, but we might need some rear brake parts. We might need a steering column. We might need front brake parts. Who knows what we might need? We'll hang on to it, obviously, for a little bit until we get that thing on the road, and then this thing needs to go bye-bye. Couldn't get 650 bucks for it with a motor, so it's probably going to be a $200 scrap car now. We will save the 9-inch because you got to save all the 9 inches. We need 2 logos. One for something about how much I hate mice, and save the 9 inches. Now that'd be an interesting bumper sticker. How would you word that? Let's not think too deeply on this one. All right, let's get this thing out of here. Well, I'm on the back side of the engine mount. You see how your side looks?
Oh.
Yeah, we're on the back side of it anyway. We might have to rock it side to side, but it's
Yeah, back end down low.
great. Oh, 460 just bolts right in where a 400 was.
Not.
That's a lie. The internet's a lie. Every Ford guy's a liar. And let me show you why they're liars. There's the front of the passenger side engine mount, and that is about 2 inches higher than it needs to be. And that is the front of the driver's side mount, and it's about 1 inch higher than it needs to be. Also, these mounts are about 1 inch longer than the existing mounts. There's the back side of the driver's mount. You can see it's about 1 inch too high, but it is flush on this side. Same deal over here on the passenger side. It's not quite flush. It's about 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch too far back, but still got to come 2 inches down. And I don't see any other holes on the K-frame or cross member to move those mounts up. So we're gonna pull it all back out. We're gonna cut those mounts out of there. We're gonna go cut the mounts out of the Mercury. We're gonna bolt those mounts to the 460. We're gonna set it in place, and I'm just gonna weld it in there. Maybe the bolt holes will line up, we could bolt it in, but we're swapping mounts. I don't know what else to do. Maybe I could get 429 mounts from a 71 and bolt to this 460 and it would bolt right in. I don't know, but I don't have those, and I can't get those in a timely manner because we got to get this video cranked out. So we're gonna do what we got to do. But moral of the story is you can't just bolt a 1974 460 in the place of a 1971 400. That's all. Freaking liars. Excuse the wind, but you can see these Mercury mounts sit further ahead from the crossmember, and that's assuming the crossmember is the same between both cars, but these are wider and then they seem to sit further ahead. Hopefully these bolt holes are the same. Maybe we can bolt them in, but I don't think so. Anyway, we're taking these bad boys out of here and we're gonna put them in that car. All right, here we are again, motorless in the old Country Squire. Chins on back, pressure washing the transmission and tranny mount, radiator, and fan shroud. And Mojo noticed that the freeze plug on this thing is about ready to give up the ghost. So we're gonna knock one of those in there while we get it out. And then I'm gonna see what we can figure out on these engine mounts. And if nothing else, we're just gonna bolt the Merc mounts back onto the 460, drop it in place, put the tranny on it, get everything hooked up. Then we're gonna take the old Miller and weld it in. We're gonna make some Miller mounts. Miller motor mounts. Motor mounts by Miller. There we go, there's a bumper sticker. Oh yeah, those are bad. Anyway, before I forget, we're gonna go ahead and knock a freeze plug out, or maybe a couple. Is that a freeze plug hole? Kind of looks like it, but I don't see a plug in there. Anyway, those things are weeping pretty good. And since we're doing all that, we may as well put that guy in too. Good catch, Mojo. He might be deaf, but his eyes are still good. That one looks good up there behind that engine mount that we can never get at again. We got our old boy knocked out. She's 1.5 inches, so I got 4 of them. Dug through my stash. You gotta have a few frost plugs on hand when you're doing this stuff. I like these old kits. That's a Dorman, this is a perfect circle. Cool stuff. This one still says Sturtevant Incorporated, Wahpeton, North Dakota. Man, even the logos were cool back then. The quality piston ring line. Frost plugs are all replaced. There was a set behind the engine mounts as well, so I figured we'd do them all while we're in there. The old block heater was kind of a pain. Had to weld a nut to it, get the old slide hammer out, get that out of there. So shout out to Mojo for coming up with that contraption. And while I got the motor mounts off, check out how different these mounts are. So you can see how the 460 mounts are about an inch or 3/4 of an inch longer, and they also bolt on entirely different. So no, I could not take the 400 mounts and bolt them onto the 460. They do not interchange. So we're gonna try to get a key made, and I guess we can do that with the lock cylinder. But you said you saw a build sheet? What are you talking about, a build sheet? No, that's just the paper divider.
Oh, there's one taped to the door in there.
What? Oh, you might be right. The thunder rolls. Like, sounds like we're gonna get wet. Should probably do a lap around the yard. I think the green bean windows are down. We should probably go get a transmission before we get wet. And then I'm gonna torch some engine mounts out. Oh boy. We had a pretty good rainstorm come through here. Took out our power for about an hour and a half, so I had to run off the old Vortec 4.3 for a little while, but we still kept cranking her out. Check this out. Here's our big block Mercury engine mounts, and here is the modified. You'd see this bolt pattern is straight, and these are staggered. You can also see how much taller this one is than the big block one, and this one's lower than the big block one. And you can also see how far forward they are set. The center of the mount pretty much lines up with this hole right here, the front hole. And this one, it's set back, plus they're wider. Anyway, different bolt patterns, check that out. But look at what Ford did for us. They gave us an extra bolt hole up there. So it is not a direct bolt in unless you have the correct engine mounts or stanchions or stands or towers, whatever you want to call them, from the big block car. So let's throw those in there. We're gonna even throw some bolts in them instead of welding them in there like I was hoping to do, making the old Miller motor mounts, and then throw this thing back in there, and hopefully it fits right in there. Check this out. They're bolted in. You can see the other ones were pretty much centered up with the cross member. These are way ahead of the cross member, so I don't know if that's gonna move the engine forward or not. I think we were flush back there, so it should pretty much stay the same. That's all just built into the engine mount, but everything's gonna sit a little bit higher so that the bolts line up and that it doesn't hit the cross member, hopefully. Here we go, try number 2, I guess. It seems like more than that. Gotta go back some? Yeah, just gotta go down a little bit, huh?
Down. Down. Okay.
Pretty good there, here.
Looks pretty good.
Better than the last time anyway, huh?
Yeah.
All right, that went together just as planned. Super easy, everything bolted in place. Let's slide our freshly washed transmission up in there now. That Cheney's good kid did a real fantastic job. The one out of that Mercury had this, I don't know what it's called, equalizer, leveler, anti-vibration, something or other. So we're just gonna leave that on there unless it gets in the way. Also looks like it had a rebuild tag of sorts on it or something at one point. Oh, we are getting close. Let me show you a couple of the things that I ran into while I was putting her all together. First thing is, you'll see we can't get a fan shroud in it because the fan shroud hits the big block. I tried. I put the shroud in there first and then tried putting the radiator in. I took the fan off, did everything. Apparently big block cars have a different fan shroud. And obviously you guys saw the engine mounts. This thing is slid ahead a little bit. Well, we're talking about the radiator and the fan shroud. The upper radiator hose is different between the 400 and the big block. The 460, the thermostat housing points at an angle, And on the 400, it's vertical, and you could tell what the cooling system looked like on that thing. Power steering hoses off the 460 hooked right up. I did have to shorten this one up. We are bypassing the power steering cooler, so we don't need that where we're going. I used the throttle cable off the 460. The 400 was a little bit too short. Like I said, I think it's because everything slid ahead, or maybe it's because it's a 4-barrel. It's different on the end. So we're either gonna have to modify the gas pedal or steal the one out of the old Mercury and put in there, and hopefully they interchange. Had to do some playing around with vacuum hoses, but I think I got everything tied down there. These factory heater hoses had a bend to them. Of course, mine don't have a bend to them, so they're kinked off on both sides, unfortunately, but I'm guessing the heater core is gonna leak anyway, so we're just gonna rock it. I gotta mount up our DuraSpark box. It's probably gonna go on the inner fender here somewhere, and then I gotta figure out how to wire it up. I think one of these is for the crank trigger, and one of them is for ignition power, so should be easy. We'll have to do a little bit of wiring here for some gauges if we wanna get those working, but I know that the oil pressure sender wire is busted off. Other than that, we just got a temp wire, so maybe we can find out which one's for the temp and just hook it up there. I still got to put new belts on it. I still got to mount the alternator because I need to drill out the hole in the alternator that is snapped off. But other than that, pretty much just throw an air cleaner on it. We still need to hook up the fuel hose. I can't believe they use that much rubber hose and that it comes from all the way back there. We'll blow it out. And we also need to check the fuel tank to see if that's usable yet. Mojo threw a universal joint in the back of the drive shaft. It's got a pretty good ding in it, so we'll see if it vibrates. If it does, we'll just have to put a different one in it. It's weird from the factory. Ford used a bastard joint. I think it's a 434, so it's got 2 different size widths and 2 different size diameter cups on it, so silly Ford things. Mojo also gave us a bench overhaul on the old starter here. It worked fine before, but there was a busted spring in here, so he used the starter off the 400 and put one of those springs in there and cleaned her all up. She should be good to go. I think he used the starter drive off the 400 as well, so she's a Mojo Craft overhaul. Oh yeah, the radiator hoses. Forgot to talk about that. So, where it comes off the water pump is larger on the 460 than the 400. So I had to do some things. No flexi hose, I just cut and spliced and modified it. It should work, but we don't like it. Also couldn't hook up the AC hoses. They come in straight on the 460. And they got an elbow or a T built into them on the 400, and we'd have to tear that thing all apart. And this one's locked up, so we're not gonna worry about AC at this time. We don't need AC, do we, Duff? Not today. Yeah, I'm gonna lift it up. I'm gonna tie that lower radiator hose down so that doesn't run by the power steering pump. Put the starter on it, and we're pretty much wrapped up down there. The exhaust is on it. I would like to put a muffler on it or some glass packs or side pipes or do something, but at least it's got exhaust not straight off the manifolds. We gotta think of a name for the old country Squire. Should we call it Billy? Billy Squire? Anyway, threw some new battery cables on. Got a new battery in here. Bung and Touch is our battery sponsor this week. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortske.com. And you can pick any name. We'll say it out loud on the air.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Anything you put on that prompter, Burgundy will read.
Clean up the cable connection. Let's start to see if this thing turns over now. Heck yeah, we gotta turn it over. Now let's figure out how to wire up the DuraSpark box. I know this ignition worked before, so as long as we get it wired up, we should have spark, and then we just need fuel. So let's get to wiring up the DuraSpark box. Oh my word, we got booster cables out, we got extension cords, we got the power probe, but we got spark. Let me show you how you wire up a DuraSpark. You got 2 wires in this plug right here, and I thought that's all you had. You got a red wire, which is your ignition, and you got a white wire, which goes to your starter solenoid. So when you crank it over, I guess it retards the ignition. But anyway, hook those 2 wires up, no luck. That's the way I got my 71 Ford wired up. That thing works great. Apparently, there's a few DuraSpark options. So I followed this harness, it goes into here, and I thought everything would go up there. Nope, there's 1 wire, this brown with a pink tracer, that goes to this plug. So I hook 12 volts to that. Bada bing, bada boom, we got spark. So I'm just gonna twist that brown with the pink tracer to the red wire, and we'll hook that up to ignition, and then we'll run a jumper wire from the white over to our starter solenoid so that retards the timing on crank, and boom, we got spark. So now I'm gonna take the schlong and we're gonna look inside the fuel tank and see if that thing's savable. I really hope it is, so that we don't have to have a 5-gallon can in the car. But speaking of fuel, check this out. Gas pedals, pretty much the same. I think they'll interchange. This is off the Mercury. It's got this round slot that the cable goes through. And this one is off the old Country Squire, and a pin goes through that one. So I could cut that off and weld it on there, or flatten that out and drill it out or whatever. But anyway, I'm just gonna bolt this in. It sucks. We're losing our really nice stainless trim, and I know I could probably knock that pin out. But anyway, we're gonna throw this Mercury pedal in there. Thank you, Ford, for your interchangeability. I think that like these cars are decades apart. No, they're 3 years apart, 74 versus 71. So it shouldn't amaze me that they interchange, but it still does because Ford thinks. So I'm gonna throw this thing in there, and then we'll check the fuel tank. I don't know, this one's a tough call. Like, it's got so many bends in the fuel filler neck that I can't really see what's going on in there. I can see the sender right there, but I can't really see how bad it is. It's there, so it's not rotted off. So I don't know if we gamble on it or we just drop it and pressure wash it and get a better look inside or what. I don't know. Of course, Rock Auto doesn't have a fuel tank for this. I didn't do much else looking. I'm not gonna get one here by the time we gotta have this video out. So we either gotta figure out something for an auxiliary tank or mess with this one. But anyway, that's a tomorrow job. I'm shutting her down tonight. We can always throw a boat tank up front and get her running and make sure everything else works before we mess around with the tank. But we gotta get that wheel freed up over there. Not looking forward to that. And brakes. You gotta do brakes. Gross. I guess we better get this Duraspark box mounted, so we're just going to screw to the inner fender like I did on the Merc, but instead of being way back there, we're just going to put it right up here for easy access, because based on how the guts are on this one, I don't know that it's long for this world. It'd be easier to replace that way. Oh yeah, real good. Looks OEM. Been dreading dealing with this brake. I don't know why. Usually because we do this all the time and we don't fix them. So this time we gotta try to fix it, hopefully, so we can drive this thing. Anyway, this thing's never been off. You know how I know? Because it's got the little locking tangers on there. 3 of them to be exact. I usually sneak in there and pry them off, but I saw Wes. He takes a chisel and hits them on both sides and they pop off. That's how Watch Wes work. Makes it look easy on his videos anyway. We'll give her a whirl, see what happens. And then we're gonna get the puller and the torch and try to get this out of there. I'm guessing it's stuck to the shoes like they always are. And this is a big dog. Not only is it 11 inches in diameter, she's a thick one. She's girthy.
Boy, he's thick! Boy!
All right, let's do this. See, I usually just get my pick and snap them like that. Wes, he takes a chisel and hits them there and on that side, then they pop right off. But that worked too well. I'm not even gonna try Wes's method. You can do this with a screwdriver too. You don't have to have a fancy pick. Obviously, some are more difficult than others. Just like people. But I'm guessing they put those on from the factory because they were rolling these things up and down the line without being rolling, and they didn't want the drum to fall off. Near as I can tell. Just for S's and G's, we'll see if it'll turn with a bar, but I know the answer. Not a chance. All right, the Astro brake drum puller tool. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing. I love it when it works, hate it when it doesn't. It's super awkward. So, join in several minutes after several colorful words when I get this thing hooked up. Alright, here goes nothing. Slid down already, haven't even started. You can see it's starting to pull off on the bottom side down here. It's because it's caught on that centering pin, the stud on the top here. I wish we could unbolt those from the back side, then the whole thing would pretty much come right off. But here we go. Let's give her a whirl. Keep after it. Yep, she's definitely pulling out on the bottom side, not so much on the top. Let's see if I can't get back in there with the old Astro air hammer. Everything's sponsored by Astro today, not a paid promotion. They just make some good tools for good mechanic prices. There you go, brake drum removal, sponsored by Astro. Not really, but use a lot of Astro tools. I think if we throw a couple of new brake hardware components in, clean her up a bit, we'll throw that back together. We'll get old Mojo to throw this on the brake lathe, clean her up. You can see that's where the shoe rusted to the drum. I don't know, it ain't looking good, but we'll do our best to clean her up. She's pretty grooved already. We can't take them off the Merc because the Merc has 5-on-5 bolt pattern. This is 5-on-4.5, which we could re-drill that one and put it on this one if it was the same thing. I doubt it. Think you can clean up a brake drum for us?
I could do that.
It ain't got to be real good. It's just got to be better than that.
Okay.
We don't set the bar real high.
All right.
This is super common on these things. The drum and the shoes all become one when they sit for eternity. And then when you pull them off like I did, you got this little pin that goes through the backing plate that you slide your brake shoe over, and then you slide a spring over it, and then it's got this fancy little retainer that's got those little notches, and it grabs onto there. And when you pull it off, it pulls the center out of this washer here, retainer clip, whatever. So anyway, I got a new set of these and some new springs we're gonna throw on there and put it all back together. If you're in this situation, just get everything. Get a new wheel cylinder. Sometimes you can save the adjusters, sometimes not. Obviously, if it's available, just buy it all. But you might have to salvage it. But buy new shoes. Don't do what I'm doing here. I don't have new shoes or a new drum, but these are gonna be just fine. It's rear brakes. We're gonna be doing burnouts, big block things. So yeah. I'm gonna put these new guys on there. This is off a 64 Fairlane, but this stuff is all pretty much interchangeable. So let's throw this all back together while Mojo turns that drum, and hopefully we'll have some rear brakes shortly. Bada bing, bada boom, we're good to go. It does like to bend this little flanged out retainer tab up there, but I don't think it's gonna hurt anything, and you could pound that back straight if you really wanna get after it. So, oh yeah, it's got the Ford part numbers still stamped on the side of these things. Anyway, I'm gonna try to run over these with a wire brush or something just to clean the rust off. And then we're gonna throw it back together. I'm sure that wheel cylinder is just fine. All right, check the diff. She was full, but when I took that plug out, she tooted a little bit. And you don't want your rear end to fart. That means that our vent is plugged. And this would have been our vent hose up here, and it should be connected from there to there. So I'm guessing that's full of rust or dust or something. So we're gonna take that chunk of hose off there, drill that out so that our rear end vents so that it doesn't do any more damage to our pinion seal and or axle seals. And then we're gonna pull that fuel tank because these are the fuel gauges and they should be connected. So yeah, doing all kinds of work on the rear end here. How neat would it be to have a functional fuel gauge on this thing? There we go, chunk of fresh 3/8 fuel line and one of these whirly dirly, I don't know what you call them, breathers. You guys know I love those things. Save them on every junk car, but there we go. The old 9-inch can breathe again. Now let's pull a fuel tank out. I think we got to take a couple screws out of the fuel filler neck where it attaches to the body, and then it's just 2 mounting straps, and this thing should drop right out of there. I already cut the fuel line. And the fuel sender wires Bluetooth themselves. There's the strap bolts. I lubricated them last night before I went in, so they should come right out. Not a chance. No go on the fuel filler neck. It's got a flange on the outside here, so even if we take those bolts out, it can't drop down. You got to pull that thing out this way, apparently. And the reason I didn't want to take that apart is because it's got that big fancy rubber grommet in. If you guys know anything about 50-year-old dried up rubber, good luck. All right. See what happens, I guess. Hopefully it comes apart. Fuel tank's out. The sender isn't the rustiest I've ever seen. The float even looks like it might still float. It's still got fuel in it. It's rusty in there. It's borderline, but these tanks are probably unobtainium, so we're gonna go take her to the pressure washer after we, properly dispose of the old petroleum from 1982 that's in there. See if we can't clean her up with a little hot water in the pressure washer. Hopefully we can get her back working. We should probably test this sending unit to make sure it works. Even though we don't have a replacement, but at least we'll know if the gauge works or not, that it's this thing or not. But I think you can replace these in the car without dropping the tank, so that's pretty neat. Okay, we got her all pressure washed. A little hot water that's pressurized goes a long ways with one of these bad boys. I can still smell that old gas. And this thing shouldn't leak, seeing how it had gas in it, unless we knocked some chunk of rust loose that was plugging a hole. But anyway, if it was holding old gas, which we dispose of properly, it should hold new gas, because new gas shouldn't be any thinner than old gas, right? Yeah, you can see it don't look too bad in there. I mean, it's not like brand new, that's for sure, but I think it'll run good enough for the girls we go with. It must have been a lot lower over here on the driver's side because there's a little bit more rust over there, but we're gonna run it. I'm gonna go ahead and test that sending unit before we throw it in there so I know if it's good or not. And then we'll throw this thing back up in there with some new hoses and we'll hook up our wires for our sending unit and we'll be ready for some gasoline. I think it's gonna work, kids. 70 ohms, 50, 40, 30, 20, and all the way full, 10 ohms. So that'll work if we put a new float on it. Hear that? That thing's got a pinhole in it and it's gonna sit at the bottom of the tank. So we're gonna snap a new one of those in there if I can find my stash and then put it back together. They're super easy to replace, usually, if the rod doesn't snap off. Oh yeah, definitely got a pinhole. Stinky fuel. There you have it, one freshly overhauled fuel tank and sending unit installed complete with new connectors and a new chunk of fuel hose. Oh yeah, the old brake drum cleaned up, not too bad. A little pitting going on there, but Mojo did what he could. She's ready to go back on for many more miles of service until we find a better one. All right, looks like Carlsrud went to Freeman Manufacturing in Alpena, Michigan, and got the information to cut a key for Chin here. Look at all that money he's got. The moment of truth. Not looking good for the home team. Oh! Yay! Great success!
Yay!
Great success.
Sweet.
Does the wheel turn now? Or is it actually
Oops. Yeah, the old tilt's a little sloppy. Now we can figure out the wiring, maybe. Ooh, that's sticky. It's like it hasn't been turned in 45 years. While Chin struggles to reassemble the door, I've been doing some electrical troubleshooting. So I got the blue wire and the red wire twisted together, which goes to the red-green wire. Oh, red-green show, classic.
But remember, if women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
And the red-green wire coming from the car should have been the power for the coil. So hopefully this thing starts. Also, the factory 71 harness plugged right into the oil pressure sender and the temp sender and the AC clutch. So everything is pretty much stock up here, other than we've abandoned the coil wire, which is now going to the Duraspark. And we don't have our wire for our solenoid, for our AC high idle, and for our electric choke. But we'll be just fine without that. Still need to splice into this eye side of the wire and then run it over to the Duraspark box for the crank retard. And then the mice also chewed off our pink wire for our crank, so we're gonna use that with the loser switch. But let's see if we put some gas in this thing if it fires up. Ooh, we can probably adjust the shifter now that it works.
Do you want it up in the air so it's not?
I think it's in park. Is it in gear? I don't think so. Just kidding. It's in gear. Think.
Yeah. Great.
Don't lay underneath it. Don't stand behind that door when it goes backwards. Try the shifting. You turn the key on first.
Reverse. Neutral. Drive. Second.
Can't get low?
Maybe low.
Maybe.
If you hold it there, maybe.
Okay. Good enough. It's got park. Perfect. Well, turn the key on and I'll throw some fuel in it and see what happens. If it runs away, turn it off. All right, ignition on.
Yes.
Slingshot, engage. Well, we got spark. We got no spark. Oh, somehow this wire got cut. Put a splice on that quick. Now we got spark. For cheese and rice. All right, I finally got it. I grabbed a whole bunch of these Durspark boxes that I have laying around, and these are all 6 wires. This thing's a 7 wire, and that 7th wire you gotta have power to. So not only you gotta have power to the red wire, you gotta have power to the blue wire. And I cut that wire and I put power to it, but there's a double pin in the connection, so I wasn't getting power to my coil anymore because of it. So needless to say, we got it figured out. Let's throw a little more gas in it and see if we can't get it to run on its own. Here we go. Take a little hot sauce. See how long the old 460 runs on a bowl full of fuel. Slingshot engaged.
Slingshot engaged.
Cool, now let me do a little wiring so that it starts with the ignition switch. We gotta hook up that solenoid wire. I'm gonna hardwire all of this stuff in there and should be good to go. All right, we got our fuel system plumbed up. We just gotta put gas in it. Electrical, I think, is all done other than the alternator that's just hanging out on the fender because we gotta make brackets for that. But yeah, we're getting close. Next we gotta start doing fluids. It needs coolant. Hopefully that doesn't spew everywhere from our hoses or our freeze plugs we just put in there. We gotta put some ATF in it because that leaked out. Power steering, same deal. But before we do that, let's get some brakes. Let's try getting brakes anyway. See what happens. Let's see how she looks inside anyway. I'm guessing not good. Ooh, she's still got fluid. There might be a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
All right, let's top that off and clean up some bleeders and see what happens. I will be so excited if we don't have to do brakes on this thing, but I feel like brakes that have been sitting for 43 years, probably not very good odds. Hey, all the bleeders came out, none of them snapped off, got them all cleaned up, and luckily they were pretty much all wet on the backside, so it means there should have been fluid in the system, Duff says. But anyway, let's go push the brake pedal and see if she's seized up. Here we go. Yep. Got it. Do you hear a brake line leaking down there, Duff? Can you check that out? Okay, you push the pedal, I'll check it out. Well, that was easy to find. Looks like all the dirt sat on our crossmember and pitted that up and rusted out our brake line. The good news is there's a T right there we can tap into. We just gotta go up over the frame rail to the right front brake hose. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, I'll make us up a new line and we'll be finding the next leak. There we go, new brake line installed. Now let's see if we can get some fluid out of the bleeders. Had Mojo come over here and help me bleed brakes. And yeah, that makes a mess on the floor, but usually it's by the bleeder. Not right here below the rocker where all the dirt's at. I'm sure that fuel line will rust out on us too. We should probably just go ahead and replace that. Anyway, gotta replace the brake line going from the proportioning valve all the way to the back. So, good thing the tools are out. All right, here we go. New brake line ran even through a few clamps holding her up there. I didn't want to fish it on the side of the frame rail and take those clamps loose. That just seemed like a pain. So attaching it to the body should be just fine. It's gotta be better than the one that was on there. All right, the saga continues of getting brakes. Bleeding is taking place. I cut my finger earlier. Ouch. Let's get some brakes to push out more fluid then. I did out my finger when Mojo was helping me and we got that corner bled, or working on it. We're getting all kinds of fluid, so that tells me that the master's making enough pressure to get fluid back there and it's actually working. And if it's blown out lines, it should be making gobs of pressure. All right, let's get some brakes. All righty, let's throw some coolant in this bad boy and see if it holds it. The brakes are holding so far. Well, that's no good. Didn't know they made 3-piece radiator caps. I guess we'll be digging through the stash for one of those. Ah yes, the Mercury provides. Let's make sure I close the petcock before we start dumping our perfectly recycled antifreeze. See, we recycle around here. The 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. Hopefully we don't get an air bubble in this one. Maybe we should unhook a heater hose. No leaks yet. If I was real intelligent, I would put a filter in this funnel to filter out all this stuff that floats. The stuff that sinks isn't such an issue. You just use the bottom of the bucket for, you know, other things. I'm gonna unhook this heater hose because it's likely the highest point, and that should keep that funnel from glugging and also prevent us from getting any air pockets, in theory. Also, because it's the easiest one to unhook because we just worked on it. Watch this, takes it right down. Just shotguns that antifreeze. Still no leaks, look at us. We're gonna catch that giant leaf. Oh, got it. Now we're just going with the big bucket. I'm sick of carrying Folgers cans. Ooh, stuff's a little more brown. Now we wait for it to come out the heater hose. There she comes. Good save.
Dang.
I think just for S's and G's, I'm gonna throw a couple quarts in the transmission because it seems like they're always low when we mess with them. Plus we know we lost some out the end and out the training cooler lines and who knows. ATF time. What a terrible dipstick location. You can't even find that thing. Warranty requires LSWM2C33. Well, I don't think we got warranty left. Throw a little Dexmerc in there because it's a Mercury transmission, right? That's what the Merc stands for? C6s love the Dexmerc. You know, this thing's pretty good. It's so good, I'm gonna give it an oil change. I got ourselves a Wix 515. Yeah. Or the old B2 Baldwin part number, or a PH8A Fram. Yeah, I'm a wealth of useless information on oil filters. Anyway, we're gonna change oil in this thing because who knows how long it's been since it's been changed. Probably a really long time. I bet we could go look at the license plates on the old Mercury and find out, but who cares? Let's change oil. I wonder how bad this stuff looks. Hopefully there's not a bunch of water in the bottom. Oh, there's the water. Or is it gas? It's definitely not oil. See, we could just let the water drain out and then tighten it back up and it'd be as good as an oil change, right? Must have just been a little bit of water in it. Come on, oil. Oh yeah, just a couple drops of water. She's definitely black though. Next up, get rid of the old Hastings filter. I haven't seen a blue Hastings filter in a coon's age. A Spell 115A. I don't even think you can get Hastings anymore. I think it's just Baldwin's now. Hastings is dead. Ooh. Hopefully that's not silver that was in there. Wix it is. Oh, let's dump some oil in it first. While I was down here changing oil, I was admiring the geometry of this tie rod end, and surely that thing isn't supposed to have that bend in it, so I'm guessing it's going to drive just fine. It's probably supposed to look like this one, just a little bit of a bend in it. Who knows? Maybe they're the same off the Mercury. Maybe we can bend it straight. Maybe we're just going to leave it. All right, let's see if we can't straighten this tie rod out. Come on, baby. Pushing against the spring is not a good idea. I wonder if we get a ratchet strap, pull on it, same way it got bent, but backwards. Let's give this a whirl. Got a great big ratchet strap, tied all the way to the rear end. Hopefully it doesn't pull the rear end forward. If it does that, we're in big trouble. Alignment by Mortske. Look at it compared to the other one. Getting pretty close. All right, let's try her there. I think that looks good enough for the girls we go with. Never mind the fact that they haven't been greased in several decades. Oh yeah, look at that. She's ready for the road course now. Until it snaps off right there. Then we're going for a ride. We're just gonna cross our fingers and hope that that predicament does not take place on this ride. All right, here we go. 5 quarts of mystery oil. I don't know what a 460 holds, probably more than that. So we're gonna dump 5 in and check it. I think they hold 6 or 7. I would hope they would hold 6 or 7. I mean, they're a big block. Can we call them a big block? Ford guys, it's not a big block. It's a 385 series. Whatever. We're calling it a big block. It's more fun to say. Be like, what do you got in that thing? A big block. Instead of, what do you got in that thing? Got a 385 series. No, big block it is. Big block, big oil capacity. Well, according to this thing, it's full, so we're just gonna run it for now and see what happens. We'll definitely forget to check it later, though. All right, we're working our way down the list, but next thing is this battery tray. We can't just have our battery hanging out here on our black of an inner fender and dropping out and getting run over by our wheel. So I'm gonna go get some cardboard and do a little CAD, a little cardboard aided drafting, and cut something out that fits that, and then we'll transfer it to metal and put it in there and sheet metal screw it or weld it, or I don't know what we're gonna do, but that's where the battery's gotta sit. And they always rust out, doesn't matter the car. Apparently battery acid raises holy hell with steel. Would have known. Check this out, arts and crafts. I don't know why I always put the brown side up. I should make it more awesome and have the label out. Anyway, we got to transfer that to something metal or wood or something. We're gonna go with metal because I am not a carpenter and I'm not an artist. I kind of want to do it out of the hood of that Mercury, but who knows? Somebody might be like, hey, I'll give you $400 for that car as is, and I'm gonna do something cool like put a blown small block Chevy in it. So I guess we could cut that part out right out of the center of the hood so that whoever gets that car next has to put a blower in it or crush it. But anyway, let's go dig through the pile. I got a tin pile out back, and also we need a 2.5-inch muffler for this thing. So the mufflers are back there because they're made out of tin. So let's see what we can find. So many options out here. Looks like you got a square body fender, ramp truck fender. OBS door looks pretty appealing. John Deere guard, that's a little bit heavier. OBS door, I think it is. Yeah, let's do that. And then we gotta find out which one of these is a 2.5-inch muffler that's preferably not rotted out or already has the end cut off. Man, the used muffler selection is really getting picked through down here. And there you go, one battery tray for a 1971 Ford wagon made from a 95? This is a rolled over one, yeah, 95 Chevy pickup. Make sure you cut it out right there where that support is. Good news is that glue came off pretty easy. Ready to go. You even cut it out the right way, so the painted side is up. What a deal. Now we just need to find a way to keep that battery from sliding into our fan. I mean, the logical thing to do is grab a tarp strap. What are these wires we pinched? Hopefully not important. I'm sure they're just for the voltage regulator. Got a nice little hole back here. Run her through the grab handle. Hook her down to the bottom of the inner fender. Bada bing, bada boom. Where are you going? Nowhere.
He's going nowhere. Where you going? Nowhere.
Oh yeah. Real solid. Good enough for the girls we go with. No luck finding a 2.5-inch used muffler in my stash that was worth swapping over, so I got a brand new Walker here. This is a turbo style. It's got an inlet / outlet in the center and an offset on the other side. There's no A or B or inlet or outlet, so we can put it however we want. So I'm gonna put the offset towards the front in this straight section of pipe, and then we're gonna bend a piece up and then shoot her out in front of the right rear wheel so that it shoots, you know, into protesters or the curbside, as we called it in the aerial device industry. So anyway, I'm gonna cut this off. Hopefully this slides right over. We put a clamp on it. We get a new chunk of 2.5-inch pipe. We put a whatever degree we need to get in it, figure out our lengths and angles and bends, and we'll put a hanger over there, and exhaust should be done. And I don't know how much these mufflers cost. It's a 17615 part number if you want to know. But mufflers are not cheap. Even I was looking at glass packs last night. Glass packs are $40 on Amazon. I don't know. Is that a lot? Probably. Those freaking Magnaflows, which I got one of those. They're 110 bucks a piece. We are not putting a Magnaflow on here at this time. We'll see how this thing runs first. We're gonna need a Holley 4-barrel and an aluminum intake and some headers before we get to the old Magnaflows. All right, will it fit? Oh yeah, perfect. Now we just gotta bend something up that goes from about here and then out that way and dumps in front of the wheel. Easier said than done for somebody like me who has no idea what they're doing. All right, she's looking pretty good. Got her dumping right in front of the wheel, so hopefully when we're doing burnouts, that'll blow the smoke out. And I think it's far enough out the side of the car, we're not gonna really hear it, and it's behind the passengers in the front. Who's gonna be riding the back seat? Well, probably Duff. Anyway, it's cheap and dirty and quick. In long term, if this thing sticks around, I would like to put glass backs on it and dual exhaust all the way out the back. Just because I think they'd sound good on a station wagon with wood grain. My mom had about a 74, or was it a 76? Anyway, it was a red station wagon. It was an old driver's ed car because my dad worked at the bus garage back then, and he bought it when they retired it, and he put glass packs, and I think he had Krager's on it, unfortunately. Maybe they were Keystones, but it had obnoxious dual exhaust that he more than likely put on there because I'm guessing the driver's ed teacher didn't have it on there, and my mom hated it. But anyway, my uncle derbied it a couple years later, and that's the story. So this thing needs glass packs long term is what I'm saying if I own it. Or if you own it, price and availability in the video description, you should put glass packs on it. I'm gonna go find a hanger and a few 2.5-inch clamps, and we'll get this all mounted up. Phew, I'm exhausted, and so is the Country Squire. Check that out. I think that'll work. Got ourselves a nice solid hanger there. We got ourselves a turbo muffler. It does hang kind of low, but yeah, it's as low as it was from the factory, I think. Maybe you could tuck it up a couple inches if you rebent it, but it should not sound like a grain truck now, and I'm excited about that. I don't know why Ford put this chunk of rubber hose all the way from the frame rail all the way up to the fuel pump here. That's like 4 feet of rubber hose. And anyway, you can't get at that connection without pulling the inner fender. So we just spliced it right there. And I got a fuel filter up here so we can keep an eye on it because I don't trust that tank. I don't trust the rust in that tank. Now I'm gonna throw some belts on here because if we lose either of those, we're probably gonna lose our fan, especially the power steering one. So they're pretty bad shape. I think I can still get some part numbers. 17560 on that one. Let's throw some belts on it. I still don't have alternator brackets, and I don't know if I want to make one or we're going to have time to. Anyway, I'm going to throw some belts on it. I think we're getting real close to taking this thing for a test drive. She's belted up. I put a 15 series on here. It calls out a 17 series. I think that's like a 3/8 belt and a 1/2-inch belt. Anyway, I don't keep many of the wider belts because they don't seem like they were used very often. So thanks a lot, Ford. Anyway, the hood hinges on this thing were absolutely trash. If you guys remember, it had kind of the cowl induction thing going on there. I don't know if they left it with the hood up and they got bunged up or what happened, but I got a feeling that Ford used the same hood hinges on 71 LTDs and 74 Mercury. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop one of these off and one of the Mercuries off, and we'll see if they interchange because the Mercury closed perfectly. Let's start with the easy one on the driver's side that doesn't have the heater box in the way. Also, this is neat. The angle kind of sits over here off this way, so the other side should be a mirror image, go the other way. No, it does not. And that's what led me to believe that they might be the same because the Mercury is the same way. This is the only car manufacturer that I've ever seen like that. Please hit the floor. Please don't spin in place. Oh, we can get at the backside though. This is going well. Are you kidding me? Now you're spinning? This was a bad idea.
Milk was a bad choice.
Good grief. Luckily we can get at the backside. I'm getting the torch. We'll just put nuts on them. Never mind all the leaves sitting in the dog leg of the fender that are on fire right now. So they got these encapsulated nuts or clip nuts or whatever you want to call them. Same thing as those right there. And those are spinning or broke off or whatever. So I think we can get a nut on the backside for sure on the bottom one. Another kind of silly design by Ford, but you can get at the backside, so could be worse. Let's go see if we can't get one off of a Mercury now. And maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky enough, all the bolts will come out and then we can steal the clips off of that car, put on this car. 2 for 2. Oh yeah, thank you, Mercury. Can we harvest the clips without dropping them into the abyss that is the inner fender? Got one. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. Let's get all three while we're here. Got him.
Got him!
Sure looks the same to me. It looks like the spring is a little bit bigger diameter on the Mercury, but if we really need to, we could swap that. I really don't want to, so we'll just throw it on there for now. See how it goes. And that would be way too easy if those interchanged, right, Duff? Yeah, you know it's not gonna work. We'll give it a whirl, see what happens. I'm guessing the bigger spring is due to the Mercury hood being significantly heavier. I don't know, guess we'll find out. Okay, Mr. Clean swung in. He bought the 1975 Dodge D100 with black wheels. Probably the only vehicle I've ever had with white letters out, and he helped me put the hood on. Shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Clean and the terrible attempt at a burnout he did. He's not doing that pickup justice, but anyway, it needs a posi in like 323 gears instead of the 276s, but he should have let it warm up. We gotta give burnout training classes. We should offer that. We need a closed course to do it. But anyway, Mr. Clean needs to work on his burnouts. Anyway, check this out. We got the hood on. We got her adjusted. Everything fit up, worked pretty good. Did a little bit of adjustment, had to adjust it down so it didn't do the cowl hood thing. I think what happened was that hood was on there and it was open and the wind caught it because the car was facing out of the trees. So if we had a good, which way was it facing? Wind out of the west wind. I think it got sprung and it pushed it up. So then, no, I don't know. I think something fell on it and then it kinked it. Anyway, we adjusted it. It's way better. And check this out. Here is the hood latch. Boom. Got her all lubricated. Little time in the old Wilton bullet vise. And a little bit of croil and a locking pliers and a hammer. Oh, flat screwdriver. Anyway, got her all lubricated up. We don't need hood pins. It's gonna be great. And the best part, it didn't cost us more than some time and a little bit of croil. All right, guys, you know how much I love the 5 spokes, but these 15 by 8.5 torque thrusts and 275/60s do not clear. The only reason that they're clearing now is because of all the 2x4s in the springs. If we're gonna drive this thing, she's gonna ride like it's got 2x4s in the rear springs. And at some point, those things will either break and or fall out, and then we'll be rubbing on the tires and there we sit. So we gotta take those off. So I'm gonna see if we can find some 15x7 and then like a 235/75 or something that'll fit in there. I don't know if we're gonna go with a steel wheel or if we can find another 5-spoke or a slot or what, but we gotta take those bad boys off so we can drive it. So let's see what we can round up. I think we're about ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and throw some hot sauce down that 4-barrel carburetor and see if we can't get the fuel pump to pull some fuel from the tank up there. And then we're gonna head on out of here if that works. Fill up these bowls so she runs for a little bit. I wonder what kind of fuel economy this thing gets. Think it'll get 12? Probably not. Keep an eye on that fuel filter, see if we pull up some fuel. Slingshot engage. Oh, we had fuel. I don't see any. There we go. Seems like it's got a little bit of a miss. It's running pretty good though, and it's idling, it's pulling fuel. The exhaust sounds good, the brakes are working, power steering's working, transmission's working. I think we just checked a couple of fluids. We're ready to hit the road. I forgot to show you what we got going on back here. We got some 245/60/15 BF Goody white letters out on a 15x7 US Indy mag. It doesn't quite fill it out like the old 275/60s did, but anyway, we got clearance now. Oh man, would you just listen to that thing purr? No lifter noise, no exhaust leaks. So good. All right, backed it outside. The brakes are there, but I don't know if the booster's not working. They push hard, but it stops it, so that's the biggest thing. Duff says clean some of this crap out of here, I guess. Tim was the gentleman's name that I got this from. Well, I got it from his nephew, who's my buddy. But anyway, Tim, he's a neat freak. Made his own floor mats. And those are gonna go away. Sorry, Tim. Save that. I guess the mousetrap was too little too late. Look at these sandwiches. Ham special lights. They haven't made those in like, goodness, 3-4 years. Oh yeah, a little armor off. Should be as good as new. It's basically detailed now. All right, filled her up with gas. Fuel gauge was pegged on full when I went to fill it up, so I get a feeling the fuel gauge ain't working. I do have a feeling that somebody else wants to go for an RIDE. Threw a couple tools in there and some belts for an alternator and a couple of batteries. We're gonna go see if we can't round up an alternator bracket. Idle down, she runs smooth. Like I said, fuel gauge ain't working, radio doesn't work. The alternator light is on. Oil, the hotter, the brake lights aren't on, so that's good. 53,000 miles. Judging by that brake pedal, that's 53,000 original, not 153. So I got a buddy that lives in Lamore, North Dakota, which is an hour, you know, 60-ish miles away, maybe 70. Let's go cruise to his place. He says he's got some 460s laying around. See if we can't find the right brackets. Get an alternator on this thing, and this thing should be good to go. Just lulls you right to sleep with that big old Lopey cam in this thing. All right, here we go. Got a fresh mug of coffee in case we break down on the side of the road. It was 41 degrees this morning, so it's a good day for coffee. It does need a little tune-up. Like I said, it's got, I don't know if it's a miss. Then again, we never put plugs, wires, cap, rotor, never messed with the carb, never did a fuel pump. We didn't do nothing to this thing. There's second. Goes down the road straight. Speedo works. It's quiet with our fresh exhaust. How are the door seals and window seals? Well, this thing's good. If I ran that exhaust all the way out the back, this thing would be like driving a new car. Power steering works real nice.
Really nice.
It's so good. And she definitely needs a tune-up. But I can't complain. We're doing the speed limit. It is great. No cruise control in this thing. The Mercury did have cruise. That would be kind of neat to steal everything out of that Mercury and get it working here. My biggest complaint, Shin will verify, the tilt on this thing, I don't know if we were reefing on or somebody else was, but if you barely pull down on the steering wheel, the tilt comes right down. So I don't know if the gears or whatever, the cogs are stripped out. You can't push it back up, so they're only stripped out one way, so I wonder if you can take it apart and flip them around. I don't know. I think it's common because I've had other Fords that were like that. I think that 85 F-150 we had, four-wheel drive, bulldoze, maybe it was an 86. Anyway, that thing did the same thing. You had to be careful climbing in and out. I don't know if that's from people tilting it way too many times or what, but left a bit to be desired. These old BF goodies might have some square spots. I kind of feel a vibration. They're also not balanced. None of them are. And the fronts are 235s and a 255, so they are mismatched. You know what that vibration is? It's that dent in that drive shaft, I bet. Dang it! I mean, it's not terrible, but the rest of this car is so good. Anyway, I don't know what to tell you guys. This thing's just working great. Fuel gauge, that needs figured out. I'm guessing that the wire's broken somewhere or grounded out. And needs a radio. I'm sure the HVAC box, the heater core, is shot and will start leaking on us, or it's so full of mouse house that it needs just good cleaning. Inside needs a good cleaning. I don't know that you're gonna get this thing spotless. There's cracks in the dash, there's a crack in the windshield, there's a crack in the seat where I sit, but I think it would clean up pretty presentable. Depends on how high maintenance your wife and kids are, but you might get the family to ride in this thing. Oh boy. Big bad vibration at just over 70 right there. Is that the tire let loose? Oh no. What is it? Brakes work. What could that vibration be, Duff? Stop, take a look. Oh, just the way it's wiggling back and forth. That's gotta be a tire. Dang it. This is why I like to run good tires, and these are not good tires in the back of this thing. Let's head back. I think I broke a belt. That one on the right rear looks a little bulged. They're pretty dry rotted, but they're good size. What? Ooh, oh, I guess the front's rubbed. We need some different wheels and tires for this thing. All right, let's head back and see what we can scrape up. We might have to go with Steelies and dog dishes. Wouldn't that just ruin this thing? Anyway, well, let's limp her back to the shop. Yeah, it was just like right now, all of a sudden this thing, yeah, womp, 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 womp. Not the belt on the engine. One on the old BF Goodie. Glad we did it here and not, you know, 35 miles from home. Hold together for a few more miles, little buddy. Ooh, we're not even doing 30. Bang, there she went. Oh no. We don't want to wreck our sidewall or our US Indy mag. Dang it. Guess what I brought? Guess what I brought? A spare tire. Guess what I didn't bring? A jack. Good call on the right rear though. It's the one I thought it would be. We'll just keep limping it on the rubber until we hear the aluminum wheel scratch. Maybe if we dig in the grass, it won't be so bad. Guess we should have left the wood blocks and ran the 275/60s. At least they were good tires. Who brings a spare tire and tools and not a jack? I wonder if the factory jack is back there. That would be fun. I think these have like a bumper jack. We're awful hard on our exhaust. We're on the shoulder so that we don't get in anybody's way. Ugh. Dang you, BF Goodies. This is what happens when you run the white letters out. See? White letters out means blowouts. White letters in, you're good to go again. Oh, didn't mess up the quarter panel at least. And this is why you run good tires, kids. Oh, it had a tube in it. Wonder who put that in there. Duff, look what we found. The spare tire had instructions and a jack. The old bumper jack. Here we go. Let's not die. Good thing we parked on a moderately flat surface. Gonna flip that guy up. Here we go. Let's not kill ourselves. So far so good. You definitely don't want to jack this thing up on uneven ground on the rear because it might roll. We are cheating with an impact and a ratchet though. But I need the jack handle. I think I saw it. There it is. Sweet. Sweet. Here goes nothing. Oh, this is great. This is way better than a scissor jack until the bumper comes off. Or the car rolls. Well, she's wanting to go ahead. Well, we're gonna have to find a flatter spot or chock the wheel. What do we got in here for a wheel chock, Duff? A hammer? Surely it won't roll over my big hammer. Park brake applied. Want to bet we forget to grab that before we leave? Oh, good as new, Duff. Look who decided to show up. Mrs. Pookie loves being on camera. Thank you. You're welcome. Mrs. Hungover Pookie. You want to come take this jack down for me?
She's good at jacking stuff off, but so she'll be good at it.
Down. This is where you just slam it down and let it go, right? I wonder if this thing's ever been used. It's very nice. Come on, baby. Oh yeah.
The thing got the thing, keep the dust off the back window.
Oh no, that's for downforce when you break 200 at Talladega. If you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
So that's what it should say on there instead of having wood grain. All right, let's go put some different wheels and tires on this thing. After we swap batteries, because it's already dead. Crank her over, Duff. Oh yeah. I can't imagine that battery only made it 5 miles. What the heck? Probably take her easy, seeing how it's like a 225, 75 trailer tire. Ooh, that hot coffee hits the spot. She's a little brisk out there. Couldn't have done it without you, Duff. Thanks for the help. And I did remember to grab my hammer park brake. Think that vibration was the drive shaft or the tire, Duff? I don't know. We gotta find some better tires to make sure we get all of the quality driving capabilities that the LTD Country Squire has to offer. All right, let's dig through the tire stash, see what we can find. Yeah, that's right. We got a Country Squire motorhome as well. I just threw my gloves in the back seat and bumped the dome light, and that turned to dust. All right, got 2 spares this time and a jack, so let's try this again. Definitely needs a tune-up. And they're definitely trailer tires that came off the 86 Chevy short bed, so shouldn't run those. Left the 5 spokes on the front that are not balanced. What's the worst that happens? Here we go. Vibration is still there. Like I said, those trailer tires don't look that great. I mean, they're fine. They're fine, but they're not balanced. And the fronts got wheel weights on them, but I didn't put them on there, and I put the tires on there, so they're definitely not balanced. So they're probably more out of balance than they would be if I didn't have any weights on them at all. But anyway, it's cruising the speed limit, so let's see if we can't make it. This thing's got such big hips, I can't see around the hips with the side mirror. And there's no mirror on the right-hand side, so wish me luck. Do you like it? Yeah, this thing's all right. We're not keeping it though. Price and availability in the video description. I got a title for this bad boy in my name. I guess now's a good time to talk about it. I think I paid $400 for that Mercury, got it running, and nobody would give me $650 for it. It'd been listed on the website for almost 2 years, year and a half, something like that. And I paid $400 for this wagon. So I got a muffler in it, and you know, some fluids, oil filter, a few odds and ends, but I am into this thing minus the wheels and tires. $1,000 in a week's worth of messing around time into this thing, and believe me, it still needs brakes. I would like to improve the exhaust, needs a tune-up, things like that. $1,000, you could get one of these on the road. If you are going to do a 460 swap like I did, I would highly recommend that you have the entire vehicle that you're pulling the motor from, because we used a lot of stuff out of that car. I guess what I'm getting at is, you don't have to go buy a nice car, you don't have to go buy a piece of crap, but go out and find a 460 powered Ford, the mayonnaise era car, and go ahead and get that thing running good, tuned up good, and then keep an eye open for something like this, or a Ford pickup or something, and you can do something like this. It's pretty cool that this is a budget deal, and we'll pass it along to somebody else. Hopefully somebody can do something with this thing and keep it on the road, because it's nice as it drives, no hands, doing the speed limit. I got too many irons in the fire, and a 71 Ford LTD Country Squire wagon is not real high on my priority list. All right, we taking bets on how many batteries it takes to go 60 miles. I got 3 more in the back, and hopefully we can get the right brackets. We'll be charging on the way home and not having to worry about it. But we're not running any accessories. The only thing we're running is the Duraspark and the brake lights when we hit them. You know, I don't really ever check wheel bearings. I mean, I grab the wheel and see if they're tight. Wonder how long before that bites me. Hope I'm not prophesizing what's going to happen here. This thing does ride great. Set of shocks wouldn't hurt, but man, it just soaks up the bumps. The mayonnaise era cars, they drive great. We need a mayonnaise era bumper sticker, Duff. I know it's mayonnaise, but I don't know what that means. Mayonnaise is more fun to say, and everybody knows what that is. Just checking my GPS, it looks like the speedometer is spot on with the 225, 75, 15 trailer tires on the back, so it must have been pretty close to what this thing came with from the factory. I would imagine in 71 this had 15s. Seems like the 14s were on the smaller cars and the cars from the 60s. Getting a lot of people waving at me, so maybe it's because something's dragging, or they see my 1982 license plates. And hey, I do have registration if you're wondering what's in the back window. That's right, I registered and put insurance on this bad boy. We are legit. That's how I knew this thing was going to be good. What does Dalton and those other guys say? If it'll make it a mile, it'll make it 10. If it'll make it 10, it'll make it 100. Well, we're 10 miles in, and yeah, we're still going, so should make it 100. Hopefully makes it 150. That is the beauty of a station wagon, is you got plenty of room for people and junk. And we haven't even thrown anything on the luggage rack yet, so I mean, we got all the hauling capabilities. Plus, it's got a hitch. Pull a trailer. This thing needs to go on power tour. Pull a trailer behind it with all the goodies in the back, you know. We'll take our merch and some tools to help people out, and some sandwiches. Definitely should look into the old drive shaft and mount and balance some good tires. All right, here's the good bump at the bridge. Let's see how she soaks it up. Like it wasn't even there. Classic. All right, made her 20 miles. Let's see if we can go another 100. Sounds like it's got a cam, Duff. It shakes like it does too. I didn't realize it until this morning, but it's Sunday, May 18th today. And the Art Olson swap meet is at the fairgrounds in Fargo today, so we missed that to get a video out for you guys. It's kind of disappointing. I should have got this done yesterday. Then we could have cruised this up to the swap meet and maybe hauled some junk home in it. Whoa! She's got a little body roll going into the curve here, Duff. Needs some bigger sway bars. I can't believe how quiet this thing is. Get rid of the rattles from all the stuff in the back. And yeah, like the door seals are actually really respectable somehow. I really wish we had some gauges. This thing's only got the idiot lights for oil and coolants, and they're not on, so that's good, but I have zero idea what we got for oil pressure or coolant temp. I'm just assuming that they even work, but they're not on. It would be nice to know just how warm she's running, but it didn't seem like it was puking coolant out when we were on the side of the road, so at this point we would have known it was overheating, because we're approaching the probably 35-mile mark. Alright, we're just coasting into the big city of Verona. This is pretty much our only gas station stop on the way, which I don't think we need gas, but anyway, let's cruise into town, see what we can see. There's the Buick Park app. Check out this Chieftain Winnebago. It's on a big old truck chassis. Freightliner. Oh, dent side Ford, or bump side Ford, I mean. Long bed, must be a scrap hauler. Got a bunch of junk in the back. I will give Verona this. It is one of the best kept up small towns. Is that a first gen Sable, Duff? Dang! Not a wagon though. Blue plater. Oh, we gotta find a square body. Surely there's one in Verona somewhere. Somebody's getting a new garage. This is the old school. They closed down the school, oh, a year or two after I graduated, I feel like. Now it is the community center. I think there's like a lodge that they got. Something, I don't know. Bear Creek Lodge, there you go. There's an OBS Chevy. It's a crew cab long bed single rear wheel. It's kind of a neat one. Jeez, this town is so classy. There's no square body. Square body Ford Ranger. What's that? Tin grill Dodge. There it is. There's the square body on the left, Duff, right on Main Street for across from the post office. Looks like a two-wheel drive. It's got the directional on the front, rally in the back. Oh yeah. You know, we only got so much battery life, and here we are just idling around town, which is probably the worst for the battery situation. All right, we got one more street to drive down. Just kidding. There's 2 more streets in Verona, but we already saw our square body. I'm gonna drive by this guy's Ford collection, and then we gotta get on the road. But we're over halfway there, so really should only be 1 battery change. Should be a 2 battery trip, if nothing else. All right, here it is. Looks like an advanced design Chevy truck, like a B John Deere, some Model T or a yard art, and there's that bump side short bed. That thing's cool. 4-wheel drive. Ooh, looks like a 62 Ford wagon. Oh yeah, that one's bounced around. 62 sedan. No, that's a hardtop. 2-door. Nice. And then we got a 58 or 9 GMC truck. He must be out driving his 63 Ford 2-door today. That or he got rid of it. All right, let's get out of Verona. Get back on the road. I did click on the headlights the other night, and they lit up front. I don't know how many are working, but I never checked taillights or brake lights, so I should probably check into that. Then again, if they're not working, they're not pulling battery power, so that's a win. Something smells warm, Duff. What is it? You got a better nose than me. Is it the heater core? Are we on fire? Is it brakes? Maybe it's just the smell of Lamore County. I don't know. There it is. The big city of Lamore, Duff. We made it. We could coast down the hill and into town from here. Never was a doubt in my mind we wouldn't make it. Didn't even have to swap a battery. Now that I think of it, we definitely never checked the transmission. I just dumped a couple quarts in it and called it good. Fully intended to check that. And to check brake fluid to see if we had any leaks, but I didn't see any puddles in the floor, so. And there was no coolant when I got out there this morning. I guess we're doing all right. If we get this alternator bracket situation figured out, we're ready to drive this thing coast to coast stuff. Here we go, big city of Lamore, see if we can find a square body. Gotta be one around here somewhere. Hey, there's a square body tandem axle drain truck. 64 to 66. I do believe Lamore is the county seat of Lamore County. Fitting, right? Yes, I'm very confident that there's a courthouse in the middle of town. Oh, check this out. 2-door Mopar. It's a Dodge Royal Monaco, Duff, with the hideaway headlights. Oh, look at these boys up here. Working on the square body Suburban 4-wheel drive. 2-tone. What do we got going on here? Ooh, cowl induction hood. Nice. Got a birthday party up here? Inflatables? Should we go check it out? Oh, those guys know how to have a good time. Looks like he's got a pretty good collection of John Deeres and derby cars. There's the big fella right there. All right, there's our alternator off of this really nice 460 with a Holly on it and points ignition. No, that's a Duraspark. No, that's points, right? Small cap. Anyway, you got a nice pile of junk here. All right, let's get her bolted on. All right, there we go. Even got a new belt. Left it all wired up the way that it was, so hopefully it charges. No guarantees. Wow, thanks for supervising. I guess you did pry on the alternator to tension the belt, so you leaned on it. You're good. You know how to run a shovel. All right, let's see if the light goes off on the dash. He offered up this alternator, but oh, it does turn. Maybe we better keep it. It's got different plugs on it, though. I don't know if that's newer or older. Should we see if the light goes out, Duff? Should we see if we still got battery power left? Should we see if it'll start? Uh-oh. Hey, the light's out. Look at all this good stuff. We got the alternator on. Now we're gonna go grab a voltmeter because I forgot to bring mine and see if it's actually charging. Here we go. Front main seal's leaking a bit too. It's pretty wet when I was down there, but still full of oil. She's good to go. Yeah, I think it's still on.
It's so dim.
It's dim. It's so bad it's dim. All right, that boar, he's a good kid. All the Mopars and Fords and things and such. Oh man, I think the graduation is taking place right now. There's a lot of cars at the school. It did not want to start, and I think it's due to my wiring. I think we're not getting full 12 volts at crank, or much for voltage at crank. Yeah, we don't want to shut it off because it doesn't want to start real good. So anyway, yeah, no stops for ice cream. We're just gonna power through. And it was not 65 miles here. We looked it up and it's 40. So no real feet. All right, we're gonna get out of Lamore and head for home, huh, Duff? So back to the old charging situation. I'm wondering if it's not charging because the voltage regulator isn't working. So voltage regulator has a set of contacts in it, like a set of points. And if those contacts aren't functioning properly, it's not going to open and close. So maybe they're stuck closed and it's not charging, or stuck open, vice versa. Or maybe they're just dirty. So that could be our issue. Who knows? It surely could be another wire that was chewed off by our mice friends that ruined our engine, and also chewed off the wires going to the starter solenoid. You never know. You ever just want to drive a car between the wheels of a sprayer when you live in Podunk? Yeah, me too, but I feel like we should use a smaller car than this. Got the duals on even. That is the end of the scenic byway. It ends at the St. Ansgar Lutheran Church. It's kind of a neat old church, some cool history. And that also ends the pavement. So we're going a little gravel cruising, Duff. Maybe gravel was a bad choice. It's kind of pulling her all in through the rust holes and into the cabin. Junk we got over here, Duff. 46-ish Chevy truck. I think this is the big city of Glover. It is. I've never been to Glover. We better drive around, check it out, burn up some more battery power. Like all North Dakota towns, it was built on a railroad. I don't think any of the original buildings are left. This granary up here might be the closest thing to it. Hey, it's got a square body here though. It's a truck. About 6 people that live here by the looks of things. Bunch of 67 to 72s. 71. Ooh, big dog and little dog coming to say hi. There you have it. Tour of Glover. First time being here. Looks like there's a street and a half. Uh-oh. Guess this is where we're gonna take a picture. She died. Time for a battery swap. Come on, baby. Back on the road. Here we go. I don't know why that battery didn't last as long. That alternator is draining our battery instead of charging it. That'd be great. wants to die when you slow down. I don't know what that's all about, but we got her going again. It's not running real hot. I don't think it likes the highway, maybe. Let's go back to the gravel. Definitely not running as good as it once was. But we only got about 20 more miles to go home, so should make it, right? Otherwise, she's doing pretty good. So yeah, I think we should be able to coast home from here. So if you want to own this thing, price and availability in the video description. Everybody's kind of doing the trade thing right now. Finnegan's been trading up. You know, my buddy that passed away recently, he always wanted a Chevelle. He wanted a 68 to 72, 70 to 72. And you know, if you got a Chevelle and you want to trade or you want to sell outright, hit us up. Kind of like to get one just to kind of remember him, and I've always kind of wanted one. So yeah, we might be posting some other vehicles for sale and or trade. Hit us at mortskerepair@gmail.com. But if you got a Chevelle project or a four-door or something that you'd want to trade for this, send a few pictures and where you're located, and we'll have to figure out the logistics on all that. But if you want this thing and you don't have cash and you got something that you think's worth about what this thing's worth, hit us at mortskerepair@gmail.com. Maybe we'll do a trade. I'd prefer somebody just showed up with a trailer and cash to get it. And this thing would be a pretty cool car with a little bit of elbow grease. It's not going to come with my aluminum wheels on it. We'll just throw some rollers on it. And I actually have plans for those black trailer wheels. It might involve the Snooch Rocket chassis and a body of a 56 Ford two-door hardtop per se. Yeah, this thing isn't too bad. Like I said, the charging system needs some work. I would throw brakes at it. Definitely a tune-up. Find a drive shaft because this one's got a ding in it. It's bent, but it goes down the road pretty dang good. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. By the time we get home, which judging by that corner right there, we're within 5 miles of the house. We're gonna have almost 100 miles on this thing. And other than the blown tire and swapping a couple batteries, this thing's pretty good. Get out there, do some wrenching, work on what you got, or pick one of these mayonnaise era cars up and get them going. Go check out the merch, mortske.com. We are giving away the Slob, the LS swapped OBS with a 5-speed. For every dollar you spend at mortske.com gets you entered to win that thing and $3,000 cash. And if you don't want the pickup, we'll give you 20,000 bucks. And we'll keep the pickup and do something cool with it, because I hate to see it go. But if you don't win, you could be a runner-up. It's $100 a piece for 5 people. So head on over to mortske.com. We got another month that we're going to be doing that. So details are listed at mortske.com. Go check out the other videos. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. You might not have been getting notified about our videos, so if you feel like we missed a couple weeks, go back and check. The videos are probably out there. We did miss a week a couple weeks ago, but yeah, we've been making steady content. So if you haven't seen any content, it's out there. Go back, check, make sure you saw all the videos. But so thanks again to everybody, and remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. Road trips and wagon, real fun, especially when you're not on the side of the road fixing a tire. Even though that went pretty well, I couldn't believe how well that jack worked. But yeah, swapping batteries ain't so bad, especially if you find a good spot to do it, like at an intersection that isn't busy or on a highway. Glad we took the gravel on the way home instead of having to swap batteries on the highway. All right, catch you guys on the next one. We made her, Duff. Safe and sound. Mojo's opening up a 400. So far, so good. You ready to pull a cylinder head off? Yeah. All right, I'll stand back and watch. Looks heavy. Don't drop that on your toe. Christ, I was just gonna come give you a hand. Well, there's the rust. Looks like that valve's stuck open. Oh boy, that one's pitted up pretty good, ain't it? Yeah. I'm guessing the mice came in through the intake, maybe the exhaust. Well, a little bit of a ridge there. Who knows, maybe that'll clean up. You're gonna make a mess. You suppose if we throw some oil in there, it'll turn over? Think so? And then we get all done and we got a crappy old 400, huh? All right, we'll keep digging, see what the other side looks like.
I was really curious if this thing was a 9-passenger or a 6-passenger, so we're gonna jump in and crawl in the back and see if that seat flips up. Oh no! Oh, man. Oh, what do we got? I think it's just a storage compartment. Oh! Uncharted territory. I was right. That's cool. What do we got back here? Some tennis balls. Some brand new Wilson tennis balls back here. They're the extra duty championship models. Just in case on the road you had to stop on a long trip. Got some TP and a Folgers can. And it also kind of looks like there's a friend that didn't make it out. A couple porcupine looking quills there. Good thing I didn't stick my finger in there. I think there's also some tire chains under there. Or a tow chain in a bag or a burlap sack. These seats are in really good condition actually too.
I wonder how many miles these seats got on them. Not many.
I don't think they got any at all.
Oh yeah. This is great.
You wanna,
Not really.
wanna play tennis?
The canister.
The cap is in the middle of there.
It's got Dacron in it. I don't know what that is. It's got it's got the long life cover that's missing. New longer lasting ball. Approved by the United States Lawn Tennis Association. They're in optic yellow. Good thing Duff doesn't chase tennis balls. Can you juggle? Yeah, me either. That's worth it right there. Tell you what, somebody who goes to mortske.com and purchases a sweatshirt, yeah, that'd ship good in the sweatshirt. Purchase a sweatshirt this week. Not only do you get a chance to win the Slob, the LS swapped OBS, and $3,000, but you might get some tennis balls. I'll even autograph it. It's a package deal. 3 tennis balls and the canister.
We better get the cap
of Dacron. We're not giving them the TP though. Look at that. Mountain grown. Always start with a clean coffee maker and fresh cold water. Measure coffee and water carefully. You know where Folger Coffee Company's out of?
No.
You know what mountains it's grown in? Kansas City, Missouri.
What?
1 slightly rounded tablespoon to each cup, 6 ounces of water. Isn't a cup 8 ounces?
They want you to brew it bold.
Bold.
Best part, wake it up.
Are we there yet? I want to go to McDonald's. Imagine the whiplash power of the 460 just bouncing your head off the tailgate. I remember a comedian talking about like they had to ride back here because they were the youngest, and so they like had a marker. Or their dad had like some rope for, tying stuff to the roof. So they like tied their hands together and made a sign that said help, and they were holding the back window and people going around them. All right, that was fun.
There's a compartment behind your body.
Is there anything in it?
I cannot get it open. That side does close first.
Give me the keys! That does not look like it's gonna go in there.
That looks like a small.
It looks like the key is not even close. There's probably a lot of money in there if you buy this thing. You could get a compartment full of rare coins.
Or more tennis balls. Maybe the rackets.
Or maybe the rackets in there.
Rackets are in there.
A long tennis racket. All right, enough of this. Ouch. Comment down below if you want to see us shoot lives in the back seat of the old 1971 Country Squire, and they will be ignored. Don't forget your balls.
Oh, God. Karate kick me right in the face.
That jack did work nicely though.
Oh yeah, the hand. Some of these. That one must not have latched because this one does. There we go.